Tonny is my name. Tonny Bundi is my name. I love soil because of many things. Soil is home. Soil is not dirt. We only think soil is dirt because we don't know what lives in there. But I can tell you, soil is what sustains each and every life that we all know about. I'll take you through my journey, how I learned how soil is valuable. Actually, let me say, the person who made me love soil is Robert McIntyre. The moment he really pushed me so hard, apart from the knowledge I had, limited knowledge of composting and stuff, he pushed me to a school whereby I got to learn in detail. I cow through Sukahumbu. So I didn't know much about soil until I had a chance to look at it under a microscope. And I saw the level of life within a cubic centimeter of your soil. It's way too much. It's more than people within the entire country. So, and I learned how we do that by doing all the conventional ways of farming, and it flipped in my mind. How I used also to see my grandma do long years ago, but she didn't have the knowledge. But I used to see her trying to do compost. But now Rob made it easy for me. Yeah, I'll take you through. It's quite interesting. Due to time, I don't take more time. You can see Tony Green. Yes. What did it come from? Michelle pushed me to have Tony Green. At Rob, we were working at Ecolishe. I'm an Ecolishe agronomy consultant, regenerative agriculture. Rob is the founder, we'll talk about it. And Michelle gave me an assignment when I met Michelle through Rob to treat her plants, our orchid plants. I think you know orchids are. They are very expensive plants and they were dying on her. So Rob said, go to Michelle and have a look at her plants, and go there. And I started talking to Michelle about her plants. She's too much into sustainability and she says, you need to be in KHS. I'm like, yeah, but I don't have the money. And she paid the first year for myself there. I got into this group that was amazing. It is amazing even today. You will see some of the stuff that they made us learn as well. From there, Rob introduced me to Kenya Red Cross Society, a school called, Michelle Shepherd. And she took me to Dr. Abbas Bullet. And the whole point was to maintain the gardens. And I had this dream, and she had the dream of converting the school to a sustainable field. It's called Boma International Hospitality College. It's fully owned by Kenya Red Cross and the Swiss curriculum. Now the whole point, they had these flower beds, and we turned the flower beds into sustainable herbs and edible flowers, veggies for the culinary students' experience. Because it's a world-class college, and it's the best in Africa, so it's a win for everybody. And for that alone, last year we were recognized globally in a function that was held in India. I'll show you the award. Yeah. So that is it. Tony Green was formed. It's all about championing, training young people, generation farmers like you, and healing the soil, because we are what we eat. Yeah. If you eat that, you'll be that. If you eat good food from good soil, you'll be healthy and wealthy. Now, I want to go through what I have for you today. This is a very interesting space for us today. Organic farming. You use DAP to grow your maize. Before DAP, you used Roundup or Kausha. Yeah? Again, when the maize is at your knee height, they tell you you need NPK, 20, 20, 20, or 21, whatever the thing is. And then after you harvest your maize, you dry your maize, you go to your agro dealer, and they recommend you something called Acteric from Syngenta. I'm not against them, but to preserve your grain. There are many sustainable ways to do that. And I'm taking you back again, why is it important? 10, 20 years ago, we used to do maize farming. And we used to see all these roots come from the maize stem, right? Do you see that these days? Do you? Maybe if you are lucky. Yeah, you can't. I don't see that anymore. And the level of fertilizer we are putting in our soil is way too much. Now, what I want to tell you today is how it affects you to your plate and your loved ones. So the moment you drop a drop of fungicide or herbicide on this soil, it leaches down to the water table. Guess the damage you're causing to the entire world, to the very, very organic creatures in the soil, in the sea. You're killing someone who has no problem with you. Yeah. We also what was happening in Israel, yeah, and Iran. All the nukes that were falling on Israel and the other side. It's the same way we do to the microbes in the soil. Once we spray, we use all these nasty things. The chemicals don't break down, we consume them. Now let's get in this healthier for humans. Obviously, when you start working on organic, there will be no need of farm inputs because you will learn on how to build your soil profile through composting, through good practices. There will be better nutrition. As we all know, there is no plant whatsoever that has an ability to absorb the nutrients from the soil. It has to have a microbiome, a bacteria somewhere, like a microorganism somewhere. And how does it work? They have this symbiotic relationship with the plants at the rhizosphere. Rhizosphere is the place where the roots start spreading. Yeah, that is what sustains the life of that plant. So bacteria are very important in the soil, and the more we use poor methods of farming, monocropping, and having all these things, we get to have we make some bacteria dormant. Yeah. So they don't give the plants the nutrients your food needs to keep you healthy and safe. Yeah? So you eat maize, but it's lacking some nutrients. There's a chart that came out about food nutritional. I'll share it with you in the bigger presentation. It's too big. You will see from 1970 how we have depleted in nutrition because of how poor our soils are. They have degraded more than before for the last 2 decades. There will be no GMO, obviously. You will have ability to do your seed banking. Yeah, you can have your second generation, third, fourth crops. So no buying of seeds. But if you use the chemical stuff, you are going to incur a lot of cost. Yeah, safer to the environment. It's because anything that is organic, natural, supports biodiversity in terms of I'm assuming when you use foliar feeds or fungicides and you spray to your crop, there will be no butterflies. You're killing bees. You're killing ladybirds. Yeah? You're killing things because you think they are insects. You don't know what role are they playing in the ecosystem. We all need one another. You don't need to keep someone dead for you to survive. Is it so? I'm assuming if today I came to your house and I told you, in order for you to survive, you have to take rid of some people, you wouldn't say yes to me, right? Even us, let us have the same mentality. The environment needs us, and it's all because we have to think critically and sustainably. Yeah. The second point will actually pollution will be reduced. And when I say pollution comes in all aspects, from air we breathe to the water we drink to the food we eat. Because if you pollute the soil, there will always be a lot that you're affecting, so you don't want to have a polluted environment. And pollution comes in many ways. Plastic, yeah, if you use too much plastic, chemicals in the farm, whereby you can even have dust pollution in your garden if you're not covering your soil, air erosion. So we need to avoid on that. Okay, supports climate resilience. So if you build your soil profile well and your soil microbiome, what happens is that you bring immunity to your plants. They are so stable, they are so strong. They will endure to the changing environmental conditions. They will not depend on your synthetic inputs. A very good example is our natural forest. That is a natural ecosystem on its own. Yeah? Anyone who waters it? Who feeds it in fertilizers? Amend upon a spray, a fungicide? Anyone? You can't, because God designed things to grow naturally. But our stupidity, we think we know it all, but we are doing more harm than good. Why? We have realized there is a huge growth of population and huge depletion of soil degradation, and yet we need more food to sustain our growing population. Are we going to kill ourselves? More coronavirus to come? Let us work between me and you, the knowledge I have, the will you have, and the skill set we all have, and bring this thing together. You better be healthy than wealthy without health. I prefer health any day. And you're not only doing the health to yourself, but also to the environment, to the soil, to the water, to everything around you. You know, when you go to some places, we used to hear these crickets at night getting the sounds. But some places I don't hear them now, and it's alarming. You know, every day we are losing a species of an insect, every day, more than one. And it's because we think they don't matter anymore, but they really matter quite a lot. Okay, carbon capture and storage. Now, the moment you do all the mulching, what I'm trying to say, like you recycle all your waste and composting and the best practices, you realize you're sequencing a lot of carbon in your soil. Yeah, you're encouraging growth of stuff. That is carbon sequencing, and that is what I call carbon capture and storage. By you doing composting and mulching your garden, you're doing really good stuff for the environment and for the soil. You're feeding your soil actually. And then we have water retention, water storage and retention. Good build soil structure and live soils. That is whereby now you have done the composting, which I'll take you through, and everything is carrying on well. You realize your soil will be able to hold in water for your farming. You cut cost on irrigation bills. 1 cubic meter of soil will hold up to 300 liters of water. And tell me, how many plants can you grow in 1 cubic meter of soil on the top surface? Few. How many days will they drink that water, uptake it without you paying an extra charge to water bill? So it's all about me and you. You think critically, and the things that you think they don't matter, they matter the most. Yeah? Right. Empowers farmers and communities. Of course, you will be empowered by definitely. If I'm growing, for instance, kale from my compost, harvesting it, taking it to the market, Mama Mboga, I'm feeding the Mama Mboga good food. I'm feeding everyone quality food, nutrient-rich, dense food. At the same time, I'm not incurring costs of inputs. To me, it's a plus. And when I'm done using the skumas, for instance, I have my chicken to come and feed them, yeah, and do the weeding for me. I'll take you through that in regen farming practices. Encourages ethical practices, reducing encourages ethical practices, including animal welfare and fair labor. If your land is productive, yeah, if your land is really productive, your cows are producing milk, your crops are producing good quality crops, yeah, you will be passionate about your farm. But what if you walk every day and you see plants are, they are wiggling, they are sick, your cow is sick, honestly, you won't be a happy farmer. You'll be demotivated. And that it gives people to do things ethically, like whereby they do composting, generation of biogas stuff, and that from the waste. That keeps people motivated. Like in Maasai, Michelle will share a story in a place where they did this biodigesters for the women, and it was really touching. And that is whereby you realize you are not only supposed to go do the thing you've been brought up knowing, there is something else to make your work easier out of the waste. Yeah? It's all about knowing what you didn't know. Okay. Promotes long-term food security. Now, here is where now by if you have your soil well, again, I'm repeating, and you can do your seed banking. You can have these seeds for the next generation and the other generation. I think this is what I prefer and I love. Because initially when I was growing up, I used to see my grandma get the maize, dry them on the trees, yeah? And they would stay there for even 3 months, 1 year. And the quality was awesome, yeah? Even the unga from that, the flour, used to be tasty. These days, if you eat ugali, you're like, no, it's like blue. It's not really good. So this will really help us a lot by taking care of our seeds and our soils to give us really good quality seeds for future food production. And that's why I say about seed banking. Okay, now we have soil health management. I'll touch on the principles, which is to enhance soil fertility naturally. No need of adding synthetic fertilizers. Use what is in your garden. Use what is in your reach. You have manure from your cows. You have some plants from your garden. Learn how to compost them and get this rich, dense compost for your soil. Because that is what plants adhere to well. They are used to the waste from their own, not what we have designed for them, not what we think it's working for them now. They have a way of recycling their nutrients in their natural ways, so you don't have to tamper with that. Preserve soil structure. What do I call soil structure? Is whereby your soil has the ability to hold water, to allow excess water to flow out for well aeration and drainage, and yet holding enough moisture for your plants to grow. Yeah. Don't worry about this. There's a more detailed slide I'll share it with you with like details. Everyone will have a piece of what I'm talking about, which is more detailed, right? And then we have promote biological activity. Obviously, when we have ukianza kumwaga maji pale saa hizi, yeah, there was no life there. But if Kiongo started pouring water there every day, every single day, without without even doing compost, you will attract some benefits. You will attract some insects. Something will be there. Some microbes will be there. So that's why, because the conditions are conducive. So same case as your soil, because if you have your soil well and profile, there will no day you lack moisture in your soil, because you have to keep it covered using compost and mulching all the time. So there will be always life. Where there is water, there is life. Okay, we go to minimize chemical inputs. I think that is well said. You don't need, because you'll have build your soil profile and good resilience to your crops. You'll build something that is very good for them, so that you don't need that. Key principles, crop rotation. You know why it's important? You don't have to do monocropping for a long time. For instance, you're growing anything, cabbage family. They have a name they are called. They are takers, they are heavy feeders, tomatoes. Anything sweet in the kitchen, it's a heavy feeder, right? So you can't grow that for a long time. You have to integrate. You have to do rotational growing. And it's because it breaks the dormancy of the pests and some diseases in the soil. So you have to do that. And then cover cropping. Soil should always be covered no matter what. Even if you're not farming anything, plant grass. Yeah? Plant something to cover your soil. Always. Why? The reason why soil should not be left open is because the scorching sun hits it a lot. Quite a lot. Yeah? And then you lose a lot from that from air alone. The air pollution, the air erosion is quite massive, but we only think water is the one that causes the huge damage, but air as well does quite a lot of harm. And then the microbes, they don't like to stay in an environment which is exposed to the sun. Either some roots are growing in there, or you have mulched your soil, it's always covered. It's actually a way of carbon capture. Soil is the greatest reserve of carbon. So you don't want to tamper with it. You don't want to rip it open, to release the carbon in the atmosphere. Yeah. We have composting. Composting should be your heartbeat as a farmer, who is really want to avoid all the character development issues. That should be your heartbeat, day in, day out. Yeah. Any waste you see should be a plus to you because you want to compost it, and I will take you through the steps. So we have a minimum tillage. I love actually no-till system. Robs knows it quite a lot, and they will take you through it, whereby you don't have to disturb the soil structure under you. Work with it within the way it is, and you realize there are some practices whereby you can do without affecting the soil. Even if it's a large-scale farm, there are farms in states, and he's really doing a good job. I remember the name, I'll share it with you in the slide. He's really doing an amazing job on large-scale no-till system, and the produce is amazing, amazing. Organic mulching. Something. With me here. We all know what mulching is. Just covering your soil, right? But this is wood chips. In mbao imesiaga, ukikata miti, you chip them. So this should be, the reason why I thought of this for you guys, not any other mulch, is because of your quality when it comes to export. So I hear that is a problem to quality, right? Ikishika matope kidogo inakataliwa. So what if you covered your farm with this? And we all have trees that we can use to harvest branches here. Harvest your trees, not cutting them. You can harvest a tree twice a year, once a year, depending on the variety you have. So I encourage people to grow prolific trees, that will give you carbon fast and yet use it for your soil. Yeah? But not invasive species. Yeah? Don't do that in your farm. So wood chips, you layer them up to 6 inches. Yeah? 6 inches, and then your soil is down there and you have your compost there. It will take almost 3 to 4 years before it breaks down completely. And as it's breaking down, it's feeding your soil. It's adding more carbon in your soil, something we call mycelium, or the mycorrhizal fungi. So whatever that thing does to your soil, it enhances the root network. And with a good root network, it means great absorption of water uptake and nutrients. So you realize I have a crop here, and there's another crop maybe like 20, 30 meters, any direction, and the roots are connected. That's what makes the forest survive, the mycorrhizal fungi. Yep. The roots are connected all, msitu yote zimeshikana. It's like one tree. So when the tree in the east side gets sick, it will communicate the tree on the west side. I'm sick, a disease is coming. Prepare yourself, guys. And then that's how they communicate and they heal themselves. Go do your research on that, and you'll be happy the moment you see what this does to your soil. So this will protect your water, moisture, no water bills to go high, breaking down and adding value to your crops, and also clean harvesting. So there'll be nothing. Hata ukienda kwa shamba ukanyagi matope. And it's amazing, right? Nyasi is a good mulching, but depends on what you're farming. Someone said it's doing strawberries. Strawberries, yes. They are called strawberries for a reason. Strawberries. They need straw. So that the straw will break down, and then there'll be some aeration. Don't use plastic on strawberry farming, because what you breed is anthracnose fungus spores at night, because the moisture is locked. So you treat a problem without you knowing why my strawberries are not doing good. So you will add more straw, and you can grow your own grass in your farm for harvesting your hay for straw. Are we together?
And it also kills the weeds.
Yeah, it also kills the weeds and protects.
Yeah. And also something else about compost now. Rob has reminded me something actually. When you start introducing compost to your garden, because many people say, but I'm using manure. No, manure is not compost. Manure is not compost at all. Compost is different. Compost brings life to the soil. That life you'll admire in the forest soil is what you're trying to make in your garden. Manure is high in nitrates. Yeah? And what are nitrates? So everyone has seen when it rains how prolific weeds grow. Yeah? Very fast. Because from where the drops of the rain are coming from, there is a lot of nitrogen in the air composition, right? So it mixes with the nitrogen, it goes down, and then when it hits the ground, it's nitric acid, which is good for growth anyway. However, you don't want that in your farm. You need more ammonium ions, because nitrates really encourages growth. If you take a soil sample here today and look it under a microscope, there are millions of seeds of different weeds, different plants, species. And how God created them, they were supposed to germinate in different times of the year or times of their lifetime. Kunait germinate after tomorrow, 2 years, 1 week, 1 month, 10 years, 100 years, and they're out there. Yeah, when the right conditions come. That's why weeds will never go away, because we need them. And God shows us how we need them, but we say we don't need them. But they are the solution to our problems. Yeah. So when you have compost, it gets your soil to ammonium ions, which suppresses weeds to grow. The seeds don't germinate if you use a lot of compost, unless what you want to germinate. Yeah, that is important to note. Okay. Soil statistics. I think this is so important for you to see. I'm reading these ones now for you guys. 95% of our food comes directly or indirectly from the soil. That is FAO statistics. 33% of global soils are degraded due to erosion, compaction, salinization, pollution, and nutrient depletion. FAO Global Soil Partnership 2020. In sub-Saharan Africa, 65% of arable land is affected by soil degradation, leading to reduced agricultural productivity. Are you shocked? like me. I'm very shocked right now. Yeah, this is really shocking me. To feed the global population by 2050, food production must increase by 60%, but degraded soils threaten this goal. I'm shocked again. I don't know where we are ended to, honestly. We have to think and rethink for the people we love, our generation to come, our children, the children of our children. It's really unfair because, for instance, let me use Kiongo as an example, right? Or I use myself as an example. Yeah, my dad gave me the land, yeah? It was in optimum productivity. And then when I'm going, Kiongo will leave his land to the young Kiongo with depleted soils. Do you think even God will forgive you? You should be punished a lot because you're doing more harm than good, yeah? And it also comes to us why people say, but organic food is very expensive. No, the question should be, why is conventional food cheap? Yeah. It's very cheap anyway. Learn more about how to restore his soil now. And supports biodiversity and natural pest control. That is whereby with good biodiversity you breed all sorts of good and bad insects. And even the bad ones are not bad, yeah? We need a balance. Even in our stomach. I know we have our gut health coach somewhere. She can bear with me that even in our stomach we need good and bad bacteria to have the balance. Hautaki watu wazuri pekee. Unataka ule akupee kichwa ngumu kidogo hata usitaki wazuri kila time. Have some challenges to help you think and focus more, right? They are not bad, but if you manage them. Supports reduces input cost and builds long-term productivity. That is evident. You don't need explanation on that, right? These are soil health indicators. You have category and examples. There are 3 indicators of your soil, how to know that my soil is healthy or not. We have the physical, the aggregation, or the one that you can touch, feel. Yeah? See. Texture, structure, and water retention. And how do you know about water retention? Is when you dig your land today, maybe you're not digging the entire land, just try one portion, dig it, let it be there for a while, come again tomorrow the same time, hold it, and see if you crush it, the level of stickiness or the level of moisture content you'll have in the soil. I have a gadget to show you that it's over there. I'll show you in a few. We have the chemical composition. Yeah, the same gadget can also give you the pH. This is very basic. If you can't buy that, there are also other ways you can learn to test your pH from your house using very basic ingredients: baking soda, soil, water, and some litmus papers. We have an organic matter that's chemical. We have biological, microbial biomass, and atom activity. How do you tell without a microscope? Because you can't see microbial organisms. You hold in your soil scoop. How many worms can you see? 1, 20, 30, 0. That's upon you. So the more you have, the better your soil is and more life it is. Right. And biological actually affects chemical. So that's the reason why you're here today, is because of the biological. Because I know the reason the bigger challenge is every time the agronomy was telling you about the chemical aspect of your soil, but they didn't know about the biological, which was so much bigger to affect everything else. Yeah. Okay. So this is a sample of how, I hope it's clear, but you'll see it. This is a soil under a microscope. Actually, this was my compost under a microscope. Yeah, my first compost under a microscope. And there is this guy here. They are called tardigrades. If I have a biologist in the house, these are the oldest microorganisms. They existed even before man existed biologically. And I happened to find this in my compost sample. So Kaumbu was very happy, and Robbie and Michelia, they were very happy because it's how you do it. And she said she has never seen this ever since she started doing soil analysis. Soil biology course and training people. She saw this first in my compost, and it's from the knowledge I learned from this big man here, Robert McIntyre. We have nematodes. In humans, we call them ringworms, but in the ground, they are called nematodes. They come in 5 categories. Some are lethal to the farmers, we don't want them. And some are very beneficial, but most of them, I say they're beneficial. We have the bacteria-feeding nematodes. We have the predatory nematodes, which feed now on the other nematodes. We have the root-feeding nematodes, and we have the fungus-feeding nematode. Have I forgotten anyone? No. Great. So, and how do you know a different nematode? Under a microscope, if you see them, they have different mouth patterns, and they are adapted to what they eat. So if it's a bacteria feeding, you have it. Now, how do they affect your crops? The bad guys who feed the roots. You have seen a tree, a very big tree, drying on its own. Na hujui nini imekausha hiyo mti. Unaambiwa, in Kimeru we call it kura. I don't know in Kikuyu we call it. And they used to say, use some soapy water to pour around the stems. Sometimes it used to save, but I used to see my grandma use wood ash from specific trees, and it would to help a little bit, but not as much. So I learned now how to bring all these things together by mixing the ingredients and making a good compost, which will give you all nematodes in good numbers, and then they will manage themselves up. You don't have to worry about them. Don't buy any expensive toxic chemicals, because they say you're killing nematodes, but you're killing everything and everyone. So no need. Make compost, and you'll have all the 5 in your compost. Very easy. Then we have the red wriggler worms. It's not clear, but we'll see them maybe in another slide. And then these are tested amoebas. Tested amoebas, they're really good in the soil. They are not the bad amoebas, they're the beneficial amoebas. And they regulate in shape, and they really do a lot. So as you can see, this is under X400 zoom. You can see there's a lot of stuff in it. This is a soil structure, the glomalin that I was saying, that if you have healthy soil, it holds in together. And then we have a mixture of all that under one slide show. And then this is called the Soil Food Web School. This is what Suka Umbu uses from Dr. Elaine Ingam Soil Food Web School in States. She's amazing. After you do the ICAO course, Kahumbu will give you a link that you can apply for scholarships to get to do more of this for free as well. It's really, really important. And then here I have dead soil. This is dead soil. Yeah, it's not anything in there. And this you can see this actually looks like an insect part under a microscope, and some few soil particles. So no bacteria, no nematode, nothing. So it's like a desert. I'm assuming if you go to Chalbi Desert today, that's the same life you'll meet there. And the other one was like if you went to New York or Nairobi CBD, the life of people there. That was the comparison. And then I want to introduce Suka Humbu, my mentor. Unless someone has a question before I do that. Shoot.
Anyway, thank you, Tony, for your presentation. I hope I'm audible. Yeah, so my question is on, okay, I like the way you brought out the whole sustainability aspect of the composting. But now the big question I have, how long does it take for that composting to be, the impact to be felt? Because as a farmer, you know you're working with seasons. So I want to know whether I can substitute my chemical fertilizers for composting and I'll see the results. How long does it take? Basically, what I'm asking.
Yeah, and in addition, for large scale, can we do organic farming large scale? Yes.
Any other question?
Okay.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. My question is when it comes to composting, for the compost, and you're saying that you use the material in the farm.
Yeah.
And right now, you know, we are using a lot of insecticides, fungicides, and all that kind of stuff. How will it affect the outcome of the compost?
Very good question. Very, very good question.
While addressing the good ones and the bad ones, how do you select which one to keep? I mean, which one to kill? Because I did this on my farm and I ended up having the worms eating my vegetables.
Okay, let me answer the first question, which was how long does it take? I can ask you a question before I answer yours. also let me ask everyone here, if you use a synthetic fertilizer, how long do you get the results? What I'll tell you is soil biology is a journey. Yeah, it's a step by step. It doesn't happen overnight. I would be lying to you if I said ukieka leo kesho utapata results immediately. However, the most intriguing thing is you create the first time. If you have been nuking your soil with all the nasty chemicals, the first thing is to start inoculating your soil first. Start healing. Start conditioning your soil using leachates like vermiliquid or bokashi leachate, which I'm going to talk about in the next slides. And then from that now, the compaction will reduce, because what is happening to your soil, the reason is there's a lot of compaction and there's a lot of anaerobic activities going in the soil because of the synthetic chemicals. They make the soil a bit compact, and then that's what affecting your soil. First of all, break the pan by using microbiology, and then from there you will be doing your compost. I can guarantee from the second season, you'll start seeing increment, and then going like that, like that, like that. But there are some plants which respond quite fast, especially if you use the broad teas. Where I'm coming to is question about large scale. There's something we call compost stretching. So I'm still answering you, but I'm also joining the two questions. Now I'm assuming in a large scale farm, and I've done my really good vermicompost. Great, yeah. A bag will give you like 200 liters of water. You can brew a 50 kilo bag to 200 liters of water, and drench that water within your planting rows. Yeah. That you are adding microbial activity in the soil, you're adding life in the soil. But you have to brew it for 24 hours. Yeah, 24 hours, non-stop. This is what we are doing. I think during the time we'll be going for break, we'll come and have a look, right? Now, large-scale farming. What you do, you stretch the compost more and you use a lot of mulching. That's what I can recommend. And then for Mzee ameuliza about the worms, which are the good worms and the bad worms. Now, ni caterpillar zilikula mimea ama ni caterpillar? There are many things that can be happening. You can have beetles feeding on your leaves. You can have small snails feeding on your leaves. And also you can have some chewing pests feeding on your leaves. But what I know works best for any chewing insects is do companion planting. Yeah? There are some plants which when you plant alongside your crop, you will sort that. And I'll also share with you something to do with how to formulate your own quick fix pesticides using some natural plant extracts. Yeah, I'll show you that. But for biology, it works itself out. You don't need to do. You don't want to sort them yourself. The good guys will take care of the bad guys, no matter what. Have I answered your question? Yes, there's a question and there's a question there as well. Okay, so, and I'm also coming to a question, sorry. Now, what happens if you use sprayed crops when you're composting? Of course, the answer will be negative. It's a bad compost. Yeah, it's the same way that once you use manure to do composting from a cow that has been dewormed, because there will be no microbial count, so your compost will not be as effective as it's supposed to be. You realize if you do that, you're trying to bring not so good stuff, but don't use that. I can say don't use that. But from now going on, you can start now keeping your stuff. Don't spraying them. When you harvest your trees, you can compost the leaves and all that, but don't use any chemical on your compost. It's a no-no for me. Am I okay with you guys? Yeah.
Okay.
Just a follow-up question on what you said, that you can plant companion crops.
Yeah.
Some examples of that, because I'm currently dealing with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So let me also now ask the question there, then I can join the two questions.
You're audible. Sorry.
When you talk of mulching, is it the green matter or dry?
Dry is the best. Because when you pile green matter mulching on your soil or in your crop as mulching, you breed something we call actinobacteria, which is a nasty bacteria. You don't want it in your soil. So you better do dry. Even if it's grass that you're using for composting, clipped grass, what you do is let it drain the excess moisture so that you don't have the compaction to breed the actinobacteria. You need lactobacillus bacteria, the good beneficial bacteria in your compost.
So what you're saying is any sprayed green matter will not make a good compost.
Of course, it won't make a good compost. I'm not lying to you because it already has some toxins in it.
But it's good to mix the green with the dry.
Yeah, it's good to mix your green with dry, and then for composting, and it's mulching is composting.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
At the end of the course,
Yeah.
let's say we need you to come up to the site, the farm,
Yeah.
and then work with us.
Yes.
Is that
Very
possible?
Very possible. Very possible.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The question is this, that you just mentioned that we are not supposed to use that crop that has been probably given fertilizer, spray. But can you compromise a bit,
Okay.
where do we start? Yes, exactly. Where do we start? Because we have done it like that before. So now if I was to remove my basin, for example,
Yes.
I just throw it away.
I'll share with you something that you need to understand.
Two questions. There's been some debate about rotational farming, like doing crop rotation. Who rotates the forest? Yeah, and they're always thriving. Who rotates the forest? Especially when you're doing perennial crops or crops that are not short term.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of debate about, especially from Korean natural farmers, that you don't necessarily have to do rotational farming because you're already creating the soil structure that you're talking about and the microorganisms. Number two, there are a lot of organic certified products or fertilizers that are coming out in the market. Which ones can we trust? Because we're not all soil biologists.
Thank you so much for the question. Very good. So let me answer her question and then I come to you. Now, for companion planting, and this will come to you as well. You have to do a research on what you're growing and what you need to grow. Some plants are not friends with each other, and some are really beneficial. Like if I'm growing, someone said he's growing chamomile. Chamomile is one of the best plants to do companion with, especially when you're doing any other crop. You can mix. Okay, what I try to do is do like if you're doing strawberries as well, you can do rosemary in between the rows, like white rose. But I'll create you a chart of what you can plant together, what you can plant together, because I don't know what you're trying to grow. About the chemicals. Now, when it comes to synthetic chemicals, because I've dealt with them for a long time, there is the color coding. There is green, there is red, there is yellow, and there is dark blue. Yeah. So the safest of all is the green one. If you're using the green, and Syngenta, they're trying to incorporate the regenerative aspect in their chemicals. But what I can tell you for sure is the quality of that compost would be as good as you need. You need a lot of inoculation of that compost. A lot, whereby you need a lot of bokashi waste in your compost pile. Yeah, to neutralize the impact and the effect. And also you need a lot of vermi liquid to inoculate in your compost piles. True? Yes. A minute, and then let me answer his question. You asked about monocropping and rotational cropping, but in the forest, we have never, I don't know which forest is that, I've never seen where plants are growing mono species. They grow irregular, random, and to me that's a way of sequencing nutrients. That's a way of breaking the pan. Second question was about organic companies. Great. Everyone is calling himself organic. Everybody, but they're selling you dead stuff. That's why there's aeration here, there is oxygen. Anything without oxygen, it's dead. Don't believe it. I'm telling you the truth. You can do your own extractions, your own soaking, fermentation, and then getting your own fertilizer. But bokashi, to me, works the best. You don't need, because those are the nutrients you're taking in your gut as well. You're eating a tomato, watermelon, and apple, pineapple. Honestly, they are beneficial plants, right? They are the same things you need to formulate for your foliar feeds. Now, the last question before the time is not with us, please.
I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I I was talking to somebody and I told her I'm coming for a course on, training on soil composting. Then she sent me a video on electroculture. And I browsed a bit, and there were debates whether it is viable or not viable. And since you are in that field, do you have any knowledge about electroculture?
What I think of it, I don't know if I'm correct, is that they use electricity to generate your organic waste to compost in 24 hours?
No.
Yeah?
It's you apply copper wire and then you ground it to the soil.
Yes.
And then it is able to generate.
Yes.
I just
true.
saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe because you are in the area of soil, whether you have heard about that.
I've heard it, and
yeah.
I've seen people trying to do it, but they do copper wire and some crystals. Crystals like a quartz crystal. So you have the copper wire standing on dipped in the garden,
yes.
in a way, and then on top there they have these coils, and then they have a crystal on top. And the whole point is the energy. We all vibrate at different frequencies, even plants. It's the same way if you have an indoor plant and you take care of it by talking nicely to it, the energy radiate, they grow without even you watering them. But if you are nasty to that plant, it will just dry instantly. So it's energy and it's the truth. It's the same way we do grounding. Yeah? The same way we do grounding. And the same way she will tell you the nutrition, the food gut coach, she will tell you eat as live food as possible because it's all energy. It's the correct. And they are saying the plants that have those things near them, they are really producing way 10 times better.
Yeah.
True. You should try that as well. Yeah. Are we all together, guys?